and welcome back to the second edition of Jack of All Travels. I hope you enjoyed the last one, which was on Thursday, because, well, it took a lot of work. That intro took me so much time. I had so many technical difficulties making that, but we got there in the end. This week we've got someone on who we briefly discussed in the last video, and we'll focus on a specific subject of that person's life, because you'll probably know them pretty well from being in previous videos. It is the one and only Maria McAveety.
Right.
Phantom, hello,
right.
How are you doing?
That's good, that's working now. That's so weird, I don't know why it doesn't work the other way around. Yeah, I'm good.
So what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Oh, I don't know, nothing. Sleeping.
Sleeping?
And then also not sleeping, just like watching TV, you know me, avoiding my daily walk.
Anyway, yeah, so Phantom's featured on the channel before, you've all probably known her, seen her about. We went to school together, she went and studied in New York, she's just graduated there. How fun. But we're going to talk about busking specifically because why not? So I thought we'd start off, Maria, with starting off. How did you get into busking? How did you start off?
Oh, okay, so I suppose the first time I went busking I was maybe 12 or 13 and I went juggling outside the Apple shop on Buchanan Street in Glasgow, and I think I did it for about 4 hours and made maybe like £20, and I was so oh my gosh, it was such a high. And then I went home and I told my mum, and I remember I phoned my gran and she was like, oh, you're a beggar. But then after that I went in another time with Lewis. Lewis came in with me and I brought my guitar but also brought the juggling balls because I was still quite nervous and I didn't have an amplifier or anything. So like for the first half an hour whatever I was juggling, and then Lewis was like, oh, just do it Maria, just do it. So then I started singing, and so the first time was it was near Christmas. It was on Sucky Hall Street, like really far up because I was in late in the day. It was like outside the Argos, that, you know, that far up. And like I think I made like maybe £25, but it was only in about an hour or two, so yeah. And then from then on I just kept doing it because I didn't have any other way to make money when I was 13.
Aye, so what was some of the biggest challenges you faced busking? Because I remember those times, well, conductor's not funny about you bringing a car battery on when you had a bigger setup.
Yeah, were you not with me that day, no?
I don't think I was there, but I heard about it.
There was one of the days, this was when they were like doing up the line, so you had to do the lower level. I mean, you still sometimes do have to do that, but I'd get the lift out of the lower level, and back then I had the battery on the bottom but not in a box or anything, and then I stacked everything else on top, but because the battery was smaller you couldn't usually see it like underneath everything. But some train conductor saw it and he said you weren't allowed on with like car batteries for some health and safety reason. I think he thinks the acid could leak or something. And then he said I can get on the train. He like didn't let me on the train. I had to phone my dad and get me to come pick me up in town. But you know, that's like a rarity. I would say that doesn't happen very often. The thing I probably find the worst is like the confrontation with other buskers, which is why it's handy to have you there sometimes. Yeah. Nah,
that's fun. Like I used to like trumpet violin man. That was fun.
I don't know how you could think that that's fun. I could get so nervous about that.
So basically, for you guys at home, trumpet violin man. How old were you? Like 14,
yeah, I was probably only about 14. Yeah.
So Maria was minding her own business, busking away contently. And this was about Christmas time when all the weird Europeans come over. I don't know if I can say that.
You know, you can't probably rephrase that.
All the funny ones come over with their weird instruments that like, it's like a violin but a trumpet on the end, they'll play weird stuff. And he just sets up next to Maria and starts playing. And we're like, what? So I'm like, excuse me, no, we're playing here. He's like, no, my La Musica. And I'm like, no, my La Musica. And like, basically that's what went on for a while. We just went back and forth shouting La Musica, La Musica.
I was just stood at the side, like, not talking to either of them, just so terrified, just like not wanting to be part of this whole confrontation despite the fact that it was me that was meant to be the busker. Oh, I hated it. Oh, so awful. No. And
eventually some woman came over and backed me up and he went on his way, so...
Yeah, I think she was worried because we were just like two kids and he was probably like 30 or 40 or something. Oh. Yeah.
Then we had that guy in Edinburgh as well, the guy with the mohawk.
Oh, yeah, so... there was like, I think maybe I was 14 or 15, maybe 15 actually at this point, and then me and Aaron had decided to try and venture out in our busking because I'd only ever busked in Glasgow. So for near Christmas we got the train to Edinburgh one day, and we busked on Rose Street because the main street in Edinburgh, Princess Street's like on a road, so I didn't think it'd be very good to bus there. So we went to Rose Street, which is like the street behind, but it's like an alleyway, and we got a good spot. We set out there, we were busking there for like 2 hours or so. And then this guy comes up and he starts having a go at us, and you need to move every hour. And I think we did comply like the first couple of times we saw him, just because we didn't really know the rules of Edinburgh. And to be fair, those are the rules, but there's also the rules in Glasgow and people don't really care. But then we came back the next year and it was the same guy, but he had a mohawk that he dyed purple, and he was wearing all leather, whereas before he was just like some kind of old looking guy. He suddenly changed his whole look, and then we were like, why did you do that? And then he says, well, in the summer I got in an argument with some other buskers and they dragged me behind in an alleyway and stamped on my hands and broke my fingers so that I couldn't busk anymore. So he decided to harden up his look and that's what he went with. But it was like a crazy story really.
But then from that, where's busking taking you? Because you've been to, how many times have you been to Germany for weddings?
Oh, yeah,
that once or was that twice?
Although if anyone else wants it, I'm up for coming back. But yeah, that would have been, I think that was the summer 2017 after my first year at university, because there was a woman who'd seen me busking in Glasgow like the year before, and she took a video of me, and then she messaged me on Facebook saying like, do you have a recording of you singing this song because I saw you in Glasgow and I would really like to play it at my wedding. And then I was like, well, I mean, when is your wedding, because I could probably do it. And she was like, oh, I don't know, it's in Germany. And I was like, I will come to Germany if you will pay me to do that. And then she said yeah. It was great. And then she paid for like the petrol at the hotel, her and her husband, and I think I made like a little bit of profit, maybe like 10 euros, but I mainly went just so that it was like a free holiday, like I got there and back for free because they paid for everything, and it was lovely. The wedding was so quiet as well, there was only about 20 people there.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of awkward because usually when I play events or weddings or anything like that, I'm just kind of background music, but at this one there was so few people, they all were silent for like the hour and a half that I was playing, and they just listened to me the whole time. So it was a bit weird, but you know, it was really nice. It was like, I felt really fancy. It was like a cute hipster kind of cafe pub thing that they'd like taken over for the day, and it was like outside. It was really nice.
Nice. Now the good thing about busking is you do get to see sites. Like we've done like the Europe trip twice now, and hit different cities. Sorry, UK, my bad.
Yes, but Europe will be soon, I'm sure. Well,
yeah, Europe was supposed to be potentially this summer, but that's
doesn't look very likely anymore. But I like the UK ones as well, and you're going to different countries really, so it's not too different.
No, UK. Well, we've been to Blackpool, we've been to Lake District, we've been to Swansea, Cardiff, Manchester, Bristol. Yeah, Bristol.
Yeah. I remember that because a bird pooed on my wrist in Bristol. Oh, it was horrible. Oh, so horrible.
What else? We've been to quite a few of them. I briefly went to not Manchester. What's that? The Geordie one.
Newcastle. Oh, but you
Newcastle. We briefly went there. But we got to the hotel. Then You Seen Passenger was playing in Glasgow, so we got up at like 3 AM and drove back to Glasgow.
Worth it. Yeah.
I think that was a great day busking in Glasgow. Like it was a good atmosphere as well.
I was so tired, I'm sure, but yeah, we left Newcastle at like 3 in the morning because the day before we'd seen on Passenger, you know, Passenger sings Let Her Go, we'd seen on his social medias, he sometimes, like every summer or for a few summers in a row, he would do like busking tours where he would set up around the UK in different cities and busk, and like donate the money to, I think it was The Big Issue. And then so I saw that he was in Glasgow the next day, he just announced it. So this was like at the end of our busking tour, 2018 it was, and we'd already been to like Cardiff. Was this when we went to the Lake District? And
yeah, that was a trip.
Oh, he's disconnected. Are you back? Right. So we'd just been on the busking tour, and then it's coming to the end, and Newcastle was the last day we were going to do. So what we'd been doing is like driving at night, staying, and then waking up early and going into the city wherever we were busking. So we'd driven to Newcastle and we had a hotel, and we were going to stay at the hotel, wake up and busk in Newcastle. But then that night I checked and I saw that he was busking in Glasgow the next day, like it was just announced the day before. So I was like, Aaron, would you be annoyed if we were to just like scrap Newcastle and get him really early drive? And you were like, no, I think it's fair enough. Because I remember you saying, I was like, oh, it's a waste if we're already here. And you were like, Passenger's probably like my favourite musician. You were like, well, if it was my favourite musician, I would definitely be doing it. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. So, what were you going to say?
Yeah. And the thing, well, I think you wanted to leave later. You wanted to leave at like 4, but to get a spot in Glasgow, it's competitive. You have to be in there for like 7 at the latest sometimes.
I wanted a very specific spot because I knew exactly where he would be. Yeah.
We had to get the spot of where he was playing, so he'd come and take our spot. That's what we wanted, and that's what happened,
we probably got to Glasgow about 6, half 6 in the morning. It was at the statue at the top of Buchanan Street.
Yeah, I just remember kicking the car down the road at the legal speed limit as fast as we could, just to make sure we got there, and you were asleep and I was like, come on!
Yeah, I was asleep in the car, but yeah, and then you kicked me out the car like near top of Buchanan Street, and I went to park it, like I went on my own at the spot just so we could get there as quick as possible. The spot was free, and then we sat there for a few hours, like at 9 or 10 in the morning we set up and bus for a while, and then all during the day when we were busking, Passengers crew were setting up, and he came down at like 9 or 10 for a sound check, and we chatted for like 10 or 15 minutes around that time, and then he sat on the steps at the top of Buchanan Street and listened to me busking for like, what was it, like 20 minutes at least, maybe half an hour.
Yeah, he's up there a while.
I played like a few of his songs as well, which when I think back on it, it's just so weird, and he was like, he enjoyed it. One of my songs, one of my covers of his songs, he was like, I think you do that better than me, so you know, I'll take that. And I was just so happy, like what a day. And then there's like videos from that day, I see them on YouTube and things, and you see me and you, because we're like right behind the stage at the busking spot, and you can see us in the background of videos. Yeah, really? Because also I've got like a cajon for percussion, and you were standing up on it and I was standing up on it, we're taking turns, and you were getting footage, so you can see us above like at the crowd because we were standing up.
The crowd?
You should have a look on YouTube, you'll probably see it in the videos. Maybe you could put a wee bit in, that would be cool. I don't know if you get the copyright or whatever. Anyway, but that was like one of the best days, because I like got to talk to him, and we were talking about busking because he was a busker too. We were talking about all the cities we both busked in. It was just so good. It was worth getting up that early.
Fair enough. That was. The last thing before we go, because we're getting close to the time, if you could do something different when you started off busking, what would you do different?
Oh, what would I do different? I don't know if I would change much, because like it kind of worked out alright for me. I mean,
you went through the ranks. You started off with guitar with shoestring, then got like, you know, the street cube, then you went uptight. You know, you kind of...
Yeah, well that's probably the way you have to do it. See, I don't think I would change it, because I'm glad that I started out at Christmas, because I didn't have an amplifier and I just had that shoestring and the guitar, and I really wasn't very good. I mean, I was okay, but I was not good. And I think most of the money was pity money, because I was just singing in the rain. It was like winter, I was freezing cold, I was just like shouting across the street with no amplifier, and I think people just took pity on me because I made like a good amount in the run up to Christmas, which it surprises me now, knowing, you know, how much you can make without an amplifier or with an amplifier. So what was I saying? So yeah, at the start I just had like a few things I could carry it and it wasn't too much of an issue.
Yeah.
But then after, you know, I started getting the better amplifier, and I added in like the harmony pedal, which needed external power source, and I just kept on adding little bits here and there, and I couldn't carry it all. So Aaron came round my house one day with this trolley, and I genuinely just thought that someone had given you this and that's the condition it was in originally, or when you got it. Because he came, it was like a Frankenstein trolley, but not the worst it got. It had like it was the top was sawn off, and then he'd put like a steel bar, and there was maybe a steel bar on the bottom as well. And I was like, right, okay, but it was better than carrying everything, so we used that like for a while. And then as the weeks went on, little bits kept on popping up on the trolley, like new bits would be added, and I think I was kind of gently being like, I don't know if you should keep it. It was kind of fine before, but you kept on doing it. And then after, I don't know, a couple of months, you came round with this cage. It's like, so you'd mounted like a steel box around the trolley and then put chicken wire over it that you'd like cut, but you'd cut it so that, like, you know, there's all now exposed edges, it doesn't end on a smooth finish. It was just like little prongs of wire like along the whole thing, and so I'd have to like try and lift it on a train, so I'd have to really grab it, and then I would like rip my jacket, I would get like cuts all up my arm and stuff. And I remember one day on a train, I don't think you were with me this day, I think I just had the trolley, and then I left it up like at the disabled bit or in the corridor or something, and then the train went round an arch and the thing just face planted. I was like, oh god, everyone's like looking at me when I was trying to...
Aye. We'll go in the video there because we could go on about busking for about easy an hour. Maybe we should do another video on that, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't know why I hesitated.
I'll link Maria's stuff down below. But until next time, I'll see you on my social media or in the next video. Alright. Bye.
Goodbye.